Welcome to the first episode of broadcast on the Sunday Kickstarter KiS102.4 radio show. Ooh, I'm Lipstick Paddy, your host, and today we've got some great news from Kickstarters this week. Really amazing week. Oh, it's so amazing. All right, let's start off. This week on Kickstarter, we'll be talking about Verdant, the indoor plant game that is on Kickstarter. But is the art accurate on the cards? We'll find out later on in today's show. Also be looking at Artisans of Splendent Vale, a fantastic looking legacy campaign game made for kids. It's looking absolutely amazing. This from Nikki Valens, formerly at Fantasy Flight. Talking of Fantasy Flight, and we'll also be talking about the Stuff of Legend coming from another fantastic developer from Fantasy Flight, Kevin Wilson, who's doing the Stuff of Legend from the, I believe, the best-selling graphic novel, which has 5 volumes, and volume 6 is actually going to be published in 2022. And the art on the board and all the cards is actually done by the artist from the graphic novel itself. I'll tell you all about this spectacular game later on in the show too. And you may have missed it on Kickstarter, but it'll be coming on late pledge soon. That's Dungeons of Infinity, the big news on this one. And we'll be looking at Myth and Goal, a fantasy football game in the likes of Blood Bowl, but much simpler and absolutely fantastic. This is an amazing game, and it's like sticking a finger up at Games Workshop. I'll tell you, really cool game. I'll tell you about that later. Also, Quest and Cannons, The Risen Island, part of a new trilogy, a pirate game on Kickstarter too. And we've got right at the end of the show, we'll talk about the big news story, which was Gencon last weekend, and it was a total epic fail by the media that went there, an absolute disappointment. I'll be sharing the news on that topic right at the end of the show, and it has been controversial actually with so there we go. If this is your first time listening to the KiS102.4. We actually have a YouTube channel, Kickstarter Radio 102.4, that you can check out. We have full videos of all of the games we will be covering today and all the news stories. But as this is our first podcast, we will start the show with some incredible music, and it'll be coming from Pixie Tricks Zircon with Deliverance of the Heart, the Heart of Anxiety song. What the heck is that? Well, sit back and listen. It's a beauty. I absolutely love that song. All the music we'll be playing on our podcast on Sunday will all be from the beautiful nuggets and gems on OC Remix, which is from the video game industry all the way back from 1980, 1990, the noughties and even the 10s and even the 20s that we're in now. Should get some fantastic new music that you've probably never heard before. Now then, let's talk about our first game of the week that we covered, and it was Verdant. Now, it's got a massive following on Kickstarter. It's got over 5,000 backers, and it's got 5 designers on it. But I think they should have hired a bloody researcher, because Beth Sodal, who's done the art for it, has made an absolute mess. My mother, who is an expert on indoor plants, which this game claims is the perfect game for, I showed her this Kickstarter and she thought that it was an abomination, the art, because a lot of the plants look completely out of shape. They don't look like they should be. For example, they have an elephant plant. A little pot with giant leaves. If it's in a little pot, it has little baby leaves. And if you're an indoor plant person, you keep these leaves very small. Because it's beautiful, and when they get big, it becomes ugly. Nobody would let it grow to a massive size of your indoor house, because it's just an ugly plant when it gets big. And in the art of the picture for the elephant's ear, it's absolutely massive. It would be like 1 meter, 2 meters tall if it was that big. It's so out of scale, and that is just one example of many plants on the cards. It's worse than that. I mean, all the plant pots are the same, like it's coming from a garden centre. If you have lots of plants in your house, it's nice to have different pot sizes, and some of the plants that need really tall plants because they're very heavy, they're going to fall over in the plant pots if you look at these pictures. But it's just ridiculous, and I'm a hobbyist indoor plant and I don't like it either. And even on the tokens, they have trowels, which you're only going to use a trowel if you're transplanting a plant from one pot to another. It seems a little bit stupid. And the watering can tokens, it's a watering can for the garden, not for indoor. It's like, oh my god, slap in the face. All these 5,000 backers are oblivious to this art being absolutely sloppy, meaning inaccurate. And imagine if you was playing a game, and the art was like really strange. Like you saw a man wearing a dress, you had a black man who had white legs. You'd be like, that looks real. That's stupid. It's way out of sorts. It looks daft. This is what this game looks like to an indoor plant expert. All these plants look daft. They're out of scale. The pots should be bigger. The pots should be different size. Oh my god, it's an absolute mess. And people are buying into this. I'm sorry, but it's not subjective. It's not subjective, the art I'm talking about here. It's wrong. It really is wrong, Verdant. Are you listening? Alright, next we have got an incredible song coming up. Shadow of the Colossus, Trico Files. This is an absolute legend of a song. Oh, sit back. This is a beauty. Check this one out. I love the music from Shadow of the Colossus. Oh my god, what an amazing Sony PlayStation first party title. Oh, so good. Now, let us talk. That's where we should go next. About Artisans of Splendent Vale. This is a nuclear bomb on Kickstarter, I'm telling you now. Nikki Valens, who used to work at Fantasy Flight, an epic designer. Yeah, guy who did Mansions of Madness and a lot of games to his credit, and he's been working on this game for years, like 5 years. And it's basically a charming game that you can play with kids, anyone from 8 years and above, as long as they're good at reading. It's a legacy game, and the art is simply charming. No solo mode, you have to play with 2 players. It is a must. You can play with 4 players. Each person is a class as well, but the super unique classes like a tailor, an artisan, none of the classes that you'll have heard before. They all have interesting skill trees, which makes each one of them fascinating to play. They each have adventure books. It's like a choose your own adventure, and the books are very similar, but for example, you might walk into a room and one of the characters is taller than the other and can see something the other person cannot see, this kind of thing. So you'll be talking to each other. Oh, can you not see this? I found this. So interaction with each other will be really cool. And the game is played actually through a book that you're turning the pages over, and it displays the map of the area, which is really, really nice. Sometimes you'll go inside of a building and that will adhere to a map inside of the Choose Your Own Adventure book as well. So there's lots going on here. The legacy part of this is adding stickers to the main world map, adding names to things, and there is a recharge packs as well if you want to go back and play it, because if you pick 2 players, the 3rd and 4th player characters will become NPCs in the story actually, which is pretty cool. But you can play through the whole game, go back to the beginning and play the other 2 characters and get a unique experience that way, because playing the different classes is playing different. And there's really cool mechanics at play here, where you'll be rolling a set of dice that becomes a pool where everybody picks from, which can help them defend, get extra attacks and things like this. It looks absolutely phenomenal. It's a must-back game if you are a parent, and you owe it to your kids to back this game, because it will be one heck of a bonding experience with your kid. Oh man, I've been waiting for a kids game on Kickstarter like this, but it's easily the best kids Kickstarter game on Kickstarter for 2021. It really is incredible. Right up, what we got next for you then? Well, this one's coming from Blind. It's the Geneva Celestial song. This is a great trance song. It really is. Coming actually from Final Fantasy VII. But they've done a fantastic remix here, and I'll tell you, if you've got stereo or you listen to this in your car, put the volume up, because this one is an absolute belter. so good. I'll tell you now, this is interesting. I love to be back in this radio doing a podcast, and I used to work in the radio actually back in England in, I guess it was the noughties. I used to have my own breakfast show in the city of Hull. It was called the Full Irish Breakfast Show every Saturday morning, 9 till 12. I used to produce my own show and present it. Good times back then. Worked for them for over a year and actually did some work for the NHS where I was broadcast across all the hospitals as well. It was very, very cool. I do miss my radio career, but I guess this is feeling like it is. So anyway, what game are we looking at next? Well, I'll tell you. Let's go to the stuff of legend. Now, this is an IP coming from a graphic novel, which is a New York bestseller. This always sells out, actually, because on the Kickstarter, people in the comments are always saying that we're trying to get this book, but it's sold out. Keeps selling out. It's phenomenal. Volume 1 to 5 is out on the market if you can get hold of it. They're doing the hard copy of the first and second episode, never been done before. People are asking questions, saying the Kickstarter's coming out in 2022, same as Volume 6. Will you be doing a complete volume set, box set with 1 to 6 in it? Would be amazing if they did that. Anyway, the graphic artist, who is an acclaimed artist from the series, is actually doing the art for all of the board game too. And Kevin Wilson, the absolute legend from Fantasy Flight, who did Descent First Edition, amazing dungeon crawler, one of the classics, went into a second edition and is a beloved dungeon crawler. He also designed Android Netrunner, which is a beloved deck builder game. Some believe it's the best deck building game ever made. And he did Arkham Horror also. This game actually feels a little bit like Arkham Horror, where on the map title you've got locations to go. But essentially, what's the story? The story is there's a young child who's asleep in his bed, and the boogeyman comes and kidnaps him. Well, the toys of the boy aren't happy, and they all go into the darkness, and when they go in the darkness, they change. So the teddy bear turns into a big grizzly bear, the little wind-up toy box turns into a jester, the jack-in-the-box. The Cinderella on the music box turns into a ballerina. It's really kind of following the graphic novel as well. And when you go in the world, you are cooperatively trying to get the boy back whilst evading the boogeyman. When you go to a location, you're going to be turning over cards. They could be good or bad. They might have people that other toys that went into the darkness that are working for the boogeyman. That means you'll be doing combat in the game. But also, there is a hidden traitor mechanic as well. And that traitor card has to be passed around during the game, so you might be loyal but then become a traitor midway through the game. And if you run out of cards, you have to toss a coin. The boy comes up, the boy gets further away from you, and if it's the boogeyman gets stronger, and new actual mechanics and rules will come into the game. So the game evolves its rule set as you play. Looks absolutely incredible, this game. It's blowing everybody away. So much hype on this product. And you can even, on the Kickstarter, look at the first 32 pages of Volume 1, and they're going to be adding more pages of Volume 1 to get you into the lore. Also, there is one beautiful, sexy plush that you can get of the Jester, and there is a wonderful puzzle series that if you get one of the puzzles, you can get some art cards with your pledge. And if you go to my Kickstarter radio channel and you look at my Stuff of Legend video, I've actually put in the comments a massive hint how to do puzzle 5, which should make it more it's like you just look at it, it should be easy to work out once you look at my I've pinned it to the top of that video, so you will be able to get that puzzle and get your free art cards. But the puzzles are coming out every day. There's already 5, I think 6 might be up, and if you do, the more puzzles you do, you've got a chance of winning a full pledge on the game. It's really is another nuclear bomb this week. In fact, I've backed Artisans of Splendent Vale, and I've backed the stuff of Legend, and I've backed more games this week because there's more nuclear bombs that we'll talk about as the show goes forward. Now, these tracks I've been playing are a little bit harder, so let's soften it down a little bit, shall we, and go for something a little bit more jazzy. A little bit jazzy, a little bit more classy, shall we say? Let's see what we've got. Oh, this one, Shanababula. It's the remixer of Stone Eyes, the Great Warrior. This, I'm telling you, sit back and relax to this wonderful dream-like song. Oh, so good. Hey, that's a great song to play on the piano, isn't it? I mean, if I was learning the piano, that is the first song I would really want to play, because it's like, wow. If you play the piano, you need to check that one out. It's so good. Anyhow, where are we next? What are we going to talk about next? Let's go to another great game. Myth and Goal. Now, fantasy football game. It's basically where you've got orcs, humans, and elves and dwarfs, even lizard folk now, on a pitch playing almost American football-like game where they can actually... there's no rules, so it's a very violent game. What's cool about it, every single character has their own name and special abilities. You're going to be rolling dice. And what I really like about this as well, the minis look fantastic because it's coming from Blacklist Miniatures that used to specialize in miniatures, and they are definitely, if there's any company on Kickstarter that can give Games Workshop a run for their money on how good minis look, this is the company. Oh. It's also got the design of the Sadler brothers involved here, who have got renown with the dungeon crawler Altar Quest, which was a game I should have backed, but I was on a cruise ship going across the Atlantic, going back to Ireland for a massive 6-week holiday, stopping off in Barcelona and spending a week in Paris with my wife. A very romantic trip, which I hope to do in the next couple of years. We plan to go back to Ireland every 5 years is the plan, and what better way to cross the Atlantic than on a transatlantic cruise. They are ultra special. Anyway, back to... I love going off topic. Back to Myth and Goal. What I love about this as well is you can design your own team. You can mix the races also, which is phenomenal. Just use a point system. You can even set up your own tournament or league, and your players can actually level up in experience and get stronger throughout the season. Looking at you, Blood Bowl, you boring piece of too long complicated crapness of a game. Hate a Blood Bowl in its 3rd edition. So expensive as well. In fact, in this game you're getting 72 minis from the Kickstarter #1, first day, but you're getting more unlocks now in the pledge, and the pledge is around about $100. So if you were looking at this kind of content with Guild Wars, you'd be spending about $1,000. Yeah, this is Guild Workshop. Mate, you need to sort yourself out, because you're stuck in 1990 with your designs. Yeah, and bring some stuff on Kickstarter, so when people order your game, you've got it in stock, because they're always running out of stock, aren't they, Guild Games Workshop? These companies that are on the stock exchange don't really understand the players of today. They're just pumping out corporate games, is what I think. Anyway, Myth and Goal, looking superb. I can't wait to follow the campaign, and yeah, it's a very, very exciting sports title that I can't wait, and I have backed it. This is my 3rd back of the week, and I've got one more back that I can tell you about too. This is just one hell of a week on Kickstarter. In fact, it's like a golden age. 4 massive games this week on Kickstarter, all worth backing, all around the sweet spot $100 mark too. Oh, AAA indeed. You forget Gencon was last weekend. Anyhow, let's go and find some music. Should we keep it on the chill? I think we should. Let's see what we've got for a little bit of relaxation. Well, let's keep it with a bit more piano, shall we? I'm going to go for a bit of Chrono Trigger with the Chrono Moonstone OC remix. This is another belting song from the video game era. Chrono Trigger, that's like early 1990s, but this remix makes it sound so fresh and fantastic. I don't think you can play that song on the piano. Play that song sitting down, can you? That is... You've got to be standing up on that, really smacking those keys big time. Oh, so good. Well, let's keep it happy then, because Kickstarter this week, as I've been saying, has been fantastic. The next game then is Dungeons of Infinity. It was coming into its final hours, and at the time of recording now and you listening, it will have finished its pledge, but nonetheless, it will be coming on late pledge, and keep this on your radar, because Sky Kingdom Games, who've got the rights to the second edition, they do fantastic late pledge managers. They keep it open for a long time, keep it updated really well as well. And oh my god, on the first day of this campaign, it was like second edition of the game, a little bit of changes to the art and a bit of more streamlining, but as the campaign developed through the whole campaign, it turned into an absolute miracle on Kickstarter. And oh my god, they have gone way above anyone's expectations. Firstly, all the art has been upgraded into a modern AAA Kickstarter art now. It looks stunning. They've increased the amount of monsters in the game, most of items in the game, more armor and weapons. They've changed so much. They've got some fantastic crossovers, bringing in Gregory from the Isofarian Guard, who's a legend. He's a great sword and shield character. They've brought my favourite character from Tanaris Adventures, Jade the Bard, who's going to be a fantastic healer class. Oh, I can't wait to play this game. There's so much here. Also, these Gregory and Jade, they have their own little mini campaign. So there's a good side mission with extra monsters, extra items, and extra weapons. So, they've also included a new mini boss with its own kind of quest chain, and they've introduced a dungeon with 10 levels. So it's like a side dungeon where you go down 10 levels. It's something like you get from Pillars of Eternity 1 on the PC, that kind of dungeon where you keep going down. It's like that. Oh my god, so much content. And if hopefully it'll have unlocked its final stretch goal, which is crafting as well. But all what I'm telling you here, you can get this for $69. It's like an absolute bargain. It's a dungeon crawler with a really nice footprint on the table. It's streamlined, very easy to play. It'd be fantastic to bring your kids to play this, like your first dungeon crawler for kids. The $69 gets you standees that are acrylic standees too. You can up the pledge to get minis if you want, just adding $10 on. It gives you the minis for the heroes, and there's an expansion pack too. In fact, the first edition got a massive 8.1 rating, which is very, very high for its campaign from the first game. And I've already had some comments on the video on my Kickstarter channel saying they've played the first edition and how amazing it was. So the second edition is just going to blow everything out of the water. Get your eye on this for late pledge, peeps, if you want a dungeon crawler. And forget about Dungeon Quest, Hero Quest. This is the one you need to teach your kids to play. And I'll tell you the biggest surprise of all, when I came to do my final thoughts, they just announced on the time of me when I was doing my video, it's going to get the Foreteller app. If you don't know what Foreteller is, it means all of the story in the campaign will be done by professional actors, and the music will be orchestrated by professional a composer and real orchestras making the music. It's going to change that game up something rotten, and I seem to be collecting these games with the Foreteller app, because the Foreteller app goes to all the campaign games. So Isofarian Guard, from the same developers, I late pledge that looks incredible. And Foreteller on Madara, Foreteller on Gloomhaven, Foreteller on Frosthaven. I've got lots of Foreteller games coming. Very, very cool. But trust me when I say Dungeons of Infinity 2nd edition is one you need to wake up to and get this for your first dungeon crawler, or to bringing kids into this genre. It is an absolute no-brainer. It really is. And this game, without no shadow of a doubt, is absolutely fantastic. fantastic. Now then, I'm going to switch it up a little bit, I think. Let's see what we can get. Oh, this one's going to be nice. A little bit of a summer track. It's coming from Red Tail Fox, and it's the Succo de Melancia from the Costa del Sol map that you'll get from Final Fantasy 14, A Realm Reborn. If you go to the Costa del Sol area, you'll recognise this song, but it's a fantastic remix, so here it is. song reminds me so much of Mazatlan on the west coast of Mexico. My wife's actually there, celebrating her birthday, actually, and leaving me home alone looking after the kids, but hey... Oh, I miss those pina coladas. Hey, what's your favourite drink when you go to the beach? Let me know. Anyhow, you have to probably go to my Kickstarter channel and leave a comment there. But no, you can email me any question you want, and in next week's Sunday show, I'll respond to any questions you throw at me. You can email me at Kickstarter Radio. That's got a double R in it when you go Kickstarter Radio. So it's Kickstarter Radio 102.4. That's Kickstarter Radio KiS102.4 at gmail.com. Just send any email to me and I will bring this up in next week's show. That should be quite fun to get some people's questions on the show. Right then, ladies and gents, sorry. What have we got to look at now? This is the last game we're talking about from this week, which is Quests and Cannons: The Risen Island. Now, this game is actually a trilogy, and the first one in the trilogy is going to be the simplest, because they do talk about what the plans are for the second one. On the Kickstarter, it's going to get a little bit more gamified, a lot more complex in the second one, and in the third one they're going to bring in a campaign and maybe legacy component to it, so that's kind of nice. But essentially it's a pick up and deliver game, and you have your own boat. You'd be picking up quests to take and looking at islands to discover what resources they have, pick up the resources and deliver them to the places around. You can upgrade your ship, get better sails, cannons, and all this good stuff. You're also looking at map tiles as well to try and find out some treasure that you're hunting. And there's a large bit of ship combat going on. Now, in the critique of it on my Kickstarter channel, which is Kickstarter Radio 102.4, if you want to search for that on YouTube, I went into a heavy critique here because I think the boats, when you're firing, they have like a sniper range. They can attack you from far across the map, and you should have to get very close to them to take them out with your cannons, and there's no like better cannons you can get for like extra range. You can't target other ships. For example, you can't knock out their sails, you can't knock out the cargo spaces, and this kind of stuff. So I think it could have more strategy in what it has to make it a more fascinating boat game. So it's got time to adapt and update these, and it's going through its campaign, so who knows what they'll announce during the campaign. But it looks like a solid game, and I think even if you got it, you could home rule these strategies that the game's not doing. It's a simple thing to add into it, but it is looking quite fun. But it has been such a busy week this week because I'm backing Artisans of Splendent Vale, Stuff of Legends, Dungeons and Affinity, and Myth and Go. That's 4 Kickstarters this week. Absolute massive bomb. And you know what? If you look at Simon's Masters of the Universe, if you add up all that pledge, you're looking at like $400. And would you not rather have these 4 games? Can you imagine on Monday you play the Stuff of Legend with your friends, and on Tuesday you have a game of Myth and Go football, wonderful. Then on the Wednesday you do a mission in Artisans of Splendent Vale, wonderful. And then on the Thursday you do a bit of dungeon crawling with Dungeons of Affinity. That's going to be 4 super unique game genres over 4 nights, whereas those people on the Simon Kickstarter would just be playing a skirmish game for 4 nights. How dull would that be? Yes. Anyway, we've got more coming in the show. After the next song, we'll be talking about Gencon and what epic fail it was by the media, and a big letdown to all of the companies and the developers and publishers at Gencon that got hardly zero coverage over the weekend. And all these channels, board game channels, that are bringing out Gencon coverage this week, they can forget about it, because Kickstarter this week's just taken all of the limelight away from Gencon. If it wasn't announced there at the weekend, forget about it, because the amount of AAA goodness on Kickstarter. You'll be putting your money to these games. Trust me. Wow. Wow, wow. Anyway, after this song, it is a controversial issue, Gencon. What I did say, I'll address that after this next song. It's going to be an absolute belter. Let's see what we've got. Oh, this one's a funny one. It is a funny one. This is Jovet Rivera, who did The Crossroad, which is Sid's theme. It's got so many genres in here. It's got some kind of pop rock, boy band. It's like mixing all these genres into one song. It's actually pretty quirky, and I really hope you enjoy it. So yeah, Jovet Rivera here with The Crossroads. Prepare yourself for this smorgasbord of music styles. I'd love to know your thoughts on how that song was. It's a pretty fun one, though. I do enjoy the things in it. Anyway, moving on to the Gencon 2021. Oh, now I'm going to have to be somewhat brief here because my video went on for 27 minutes and plus on my rant of Gencon 27 minutes. Bloody hell. But tomorrow on the Monday, what date's the Monday? Quick look at the calendar. 27th of September. I'm going to be doing a video on what the board game industry can learn from the video game industry regarding its media. Because the media at Gencon was an absolute epic fail. Right? Because they basically being selfish. They're just going there to enjoy themselves. They're not actually reporting to the viewers that actually got where these YouTube channels are. The Dice Tower had their full team there. They could have gone around with a camera and interviewed all these games. Board Game Geek had people on the floor that could have been going video in these teams. There was other the Man vs Meeple. They did some videos too, you know, with it. But they're staggering them over the week, which is a little bit disappointing. And there was a few that I mentioned in my video. We had Bauer, who was on his own. This is Bauer's gaming channel, and Forrest Bowers. And he was like the hero. He was doing interviews and coverage, live coverage. A little bit let down by the Wi-Fi in the audience, and his quality went down and things like that. But usually a two-man show, but with COVID restrictions and that, I don't think he could get his cameraman with him. But he did cover one of my anticipated games, which was Key to the Kingdom, which looks absolutely phenomenal from Restoration Games, not coming out though till 2022. And yeah, it's a really big shame. I mean, all these YouTube channels that had anticipated lists for Gencon going in, useless because none of these games actually got covered. And do I have to go to Gencon and do this coverage for everybody? I mean, these are established channels that are getting Kickstarters. I mean, the Dice Tower is getting over 300,000 from Kickstarters every year, and they can't take a camera around. I'm going to be blasting them again in my video on Monday, but yeah, they need to shape up or shape out is what I feel. But hey, for me, going to Gencon, I'm going to need me probably and the editor. You can be the cameraman, and that's going to need 2 flights into the United States from Mexico. That's going to be expensive. Hotel will be expensive because we're converting peso to dollars. So it's like really a massive ask for us if we would do that. We need like to kickstart $1,000 to actually get us to Gencon to do the coverage that should have been done in 2021. But I do feel like Board Game Geek will step up to the plate in 2022. But it's not going to be enough. More needs to be done. I'll explain that on my Monday special video. But still bitter over how Gencon 2021 was covered. Because, for example, on the Stuff of Legend, people on the first day were saying, why are not many people backing this game? Well, it didn't get covered at Gencon. This massive IP game didn't even get covered at Gencon. Such disgust. Anyway, forget about that. It's been a fantastic week on Kickstarter. Absolutely a dream week. You could easily be backing all these games and have fun. If you'd only back the 4 games I backed this week for the whole year, you would be mega happy to have these 4 games. Trust me. Oh my goodness. Anyhow, let's move away. Let's talk about Broadcast, this show that you're listening to on the Sunday Kickstarter KiS102.4 radio show. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. Well, it's a video on YouTube, podcast for some people out there on the interwebs and all that. And must thank you so much for tuning in. And I will be back here next Sunday to talk about all the interesting things that happen on Kickstarter in the week coming, and I'll be back sharing more of the Golden Nugget songs of OC Remix, which can truly be a massive jukebox of different styles and genres. I hope you've enjoyed the music today. Also, if you're on the podcast, please think about visiting my Kickstarter channel on YouTube. It's Kickstarter Radio 102.4. Why is it called that? It's because there was a radio station when I was young. It was from Manchester, KiS102.4, and I've named it after that Manchester radio show that I used to watch. It was fantastic. Anyhow, peeps, again, I must thank you for watching the show, and I'll be back next Sunday to do another broadcast. It'll be number 2, and look out for that one. So, thank you so much for watching. Oh, and before I go, I'll remind you again, the email, if you want to ask me a question for next Sunday's show, it is Kickstarter Radio, double R, after, because it's Kickstarter, ends in R with a radio, begins with R. So it's Kickstarter Radio, all one word, 102.4 at gmail.com. That's Kickstarter Radio 102.4 at gmail.com. Oh, I can't wait, if you have got questions, to include them in next week's show. It should be very, very good. Now, I'm going to leave you with one more song, and this one is going to be a little bit of a treat, of course. I like to leave a good one for the end, so get ready for The Drum of Bass Wall. Yes, this is from Final Fantasy 12, and it's a big thumping track, but I really do like this one. This one's to end the show, The Drum of Bass Wall. So enjoy this one, peeps. I'll see you back here next Sunday, and if you visit my channel, I will have videos next week covering all the great Kickstarters that pop out next week. It should be another good week and all that good jazz. So take care, all of you peeps on the interwebs, ladies and gents. You take care, stay safe, and well, I've been your host, Lipstick Paddy. This has been Kickstarter Radio 102.4 on the amazing first show of the Sunday Kickstarter KiS102.4 radio show. So take care, bye bye for now, and enjoy.